So, are you already a posthuman? Seriously, think about your everyday routines for a second. Think about the devices you use, and even your own physical body. Now, you might think that being part machine is this far off concept, something strictly reserved for distant science fiction futures. But what if I told you it's actually already happened, and you've literally been living it every single day? Welcome to this explainer on Posthumanism, a guide for the perplexed by Peter Mahan. Today, we're going to completely reframe how you think about humanity, technology, and your exact place in the modern world. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with Section 1, what is posthumanism? Then Section 2, your smartphone prosthetic. Section 3, the cost of connection. Section 4 covers cybernetics and information. And we'll wrap up with Section 5, AI and the future. All right, kicking things off with Section 1. What exactly is posthumanism? I know. When you hear a word like posthumanism, it is so easy to just roll your eyes and dismiss it as some trendy, out-of-touch academic buzzword. But honestly, it's pretty straightforward. Posthumanism takes its basic unit of analysis as humans plus tools. It argues that humanity is continuously changing through our interaction with technology. So it isn't a complete break from traditional 17th century humanism, things like rationality and science. Instead, it's actually a radicalization of those ideas, and it stretches all the way back to prehistoric times when humans first picked up rudimentary tools. To really grasp this, we need to look at Edwin Hutchinson's concept of distributed cognition. The core idea here is absolutely fascinating. It says that your thinking processes, your memory, your reasoning, your problem solving, are not confined to the biological limits of your physical brain. Think of an airline pilot. A pilot can only fly a complex commercial jet by thinking in conjunction with the cockpit's non-biological instruments. The actual cognition required to fly that plane, it happens across flesh, blood, silicon, and wire, all at once. And this relies on an underlying concept called functionalism. Functionalism basically tells us that things are best described by the functional role they play within a system rather than what they're physically made of. It's basically the classic duck test. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, well, it's a duck. If an artificial component in a machine functions as memory, it effectively is memory. It doesn't matter if it's made of human brain cells or silicon chips. Which brings us right into Section 2, your smartphone prosthetic. Let's take those abstract definitions and ground them in our daily reality. Consider a biological tool, like the human eye's natural lens, and compared to a technological prosthetic, like manufactured eyeglasses. And this brilliantly illustrates how seamlessly we rely on artificial supplements. When our biological lenses fail us, what do? We use plastic and metal to see properly. The entire system of sight becomes a blend of biology and manufactured technology. Okay, now scale that idea up to a much more complex digital device. Imagine losing your smartphone forever. No internet access, no contacts, no calendar reminders, no GPS. Would it feel like losing a part of your memory, your identity, maybe even a chunk of your IQ? The crucial point here is that your phone is not just a cool gadget. It is an essential cognitive prosthetic that artificially extends your brain across global data networks. Literally, without it, you are cognitively impaired. Let's pivot slightly to Section 3, the cost of connection. If we fundamentally are our technology, we really must examine a somewhat darker reality. Who makes and controls these tools? Consider this staggering number, 2.3 billion worldwide mobile broadband subscriptions. This just shows the massive global scale of our technological entanglement. And it's definitely not just a phenomenon in the developed world. Developing nations are rapidly adopting mobile tech, in many cases skipping fixed-line broadband entirely. Our distributed cognition is a fully global event. But this technology acts as a pharmacon. Now, pharmacon is an old Greek term meaning something is both a cure and a poison at the exact same time. We have to weigh these absolute miracles, like medical neuroprosthetics that actually allow amputees to control robotic limbs with their nervous system, against some very severe harms. We're talking about the realities of NSA surveillance commodifying our metadata, the massive environmental damage of e-waste, and the harsh exploitation of workers at facilities like Foxconn. Posthumanism is inextricably linked to both global progress and global exploitation. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into cybernetics and information. We need to dig into the actual science behind these tools. Take a look at this somewhat intimidating equation from Claude Shannon's 1948 mathematical theory of communication. This is the famous entropy equation. Shannon brilliantly linked the quantification of information directly to the mathematics of probability. Okay, please don't let the math scare you. Let's break it down into a few easy steps using a totally relatable analogy, flipping a fair coin. Step 1, you flip the coin. Step 2, the probability of it landing on heads or tails is exactly 50-50. Step 3, you plug that exact amount of uncertainty into Shannon's equation. You see, mathematically speaking, information is simply the resolution of uncertainty. And the answer is exactly 1 bit. That is the exact amount of information gained from learning the outcome of a fair coin flip. The less probable an event is, the more information you gain from it. Conversely, highly probable events yield almost zero information. Think of it like this. If someone gives you a 100% accurate forecast that it's raining while you are currently standing outside in the pouring rain, you'd probably just give them a sarcastic, "Cool story, bro," because mathematically you gained 0 bits of information. And finally, Section 5, AI and the future. As we push further into the automation age, we have to ask a huge question. What happens when our tools become smarter, faster, and way more efficient than we are? We're already seeing key indicators everywhere. We have Google DeepMind creating an AI agent that taught itself to play video games at superhuman levels using only raw pixels. We have manufacturing giants like Foxconn aiming to automate 1 million jobs. And then there's Baxter, a manufacturing robot that you can train simply by guiding its arms, and it retails for just $25,000. Robotics and machine learning are threatening to severely disrupt not just physical labor, but also low-level knowledge economy work, like accountancy and legal writing. So how exactly does society cope with the potential of mass unemployment? Well, one heavily discussed socioeconomic solution is universal basic income, or UBI. This model would provide a guaranteed living income for all citizens. Proponents of UBI argue it could prevent mass social unrest, decommodify human labor, and completely eliminate the threat economy, a system where people face starvation if they cannot sell their labor to survive. Ultimately, when looking at the future of posthumanism, we see 2 wildly contrasting predictions. On one side, we have an existential threat, with figures like Elon Musk and the late Stephen Hawking warning that artificial superintelligence could literally spell the end of humanity. But on the flip side, we have the utopian singularity. Thinkers like Ray Kurzweil predict that superintelligence is going to bring us immortality, unlimited energy, and a cleaner environment. It's literally the ultimate dual reality of crisis and opportunity. To summarize the absolute core takeaway from everything we've explored today, posthumanism is not some distant science fiction fantasy, it is our everyday reality. From the glasses on your face to the smartphone in your hand, you are already deeply entangled with technology. It's the vital, necessary lens through which we must view our modern lives, our economies, and our ongoing evolution. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder. If we are already inextricably entangled with our tools, if we are in fact already posthumans navigating a posthuman world, what part of your humanity are you willing to upgrade next? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep asking those big questions and keep exploring.